Hello from the 11th inning stretch. This is the Cardinals' first half of the season in review and the preview for the second half of the season. This is our first podcast in a string of podcasts during the All-Star break. My name is Paul Epi, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, Alex Schneider. Alex, how are you doing?
Oh, just peachy, my friend.
We are recording this on July 10th, which is the third game of the Cardinals-Brewers series. Alex, there's a lot of storylines from the first half of the season. We'll graze through some of them, or hopefully most of them, in this podcast without making it too long. But I think the biggest storyline has to be the pitching staff, and how, I'm not going to say bad, but how inconsistent they've been the first half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right on the head. I mean, there hasn't been a Cardinal team that's been this inconsistent in a long, long time. I just don't know. I'm hoping that they come out and can get some things done this next half, work on some stuff, because they definitely need it. I mean, you hit it kind of right on the head. I don't know. I don't know. The Cardinals have to figure something out. I mean, it's not like it's too terribly hard to do.
And so sort of the frustrating thing about it is that they returned most of the team from last season, with the exception of obviously Hayward and Lackey. They returned everybody else. I mean, it's not like this team's radically different. And I'm not here to be a total downer about everything, because there are some positives from this season, obviously, and we will draw on those. But this pitching staff has not been a positive, in my opinion. One of the fascinating things that I've seen is that the pitching staff has remained incredibly healthy. In fact, they have had no injuries, literally none, in the starters, I mean. They've used the same 5 starters every game, every series for the first half of the season. And you don't see that very often. But they have not pitched nearly as well as they have last year. Their run prevention is not good. That's why you see guys with ERAs in the 4s instead of 3s and 2s. And they're not really going deep into ball games. That's one of the reasons why I think Rosenthal hasn't been that great. So it sort of starts at the top and just works its way down to the bullpen too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and like we said before, we didn't expect the Cardinals pitching staff to be what they were like. That's kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of experience to see. I mean, because they pitched really well last year, but I mean, at least half as good, 3/4 as good as last year. I mean, I don't think it's too out of line to ask for.
No, yeah, I mean, Michael Wacha's. I really do want to see if or when he's going to put it together, because he was sort of billed as this guy who's going to be a 1 or 2 starter in the future, and he started out as when he first started pitching for the Cardinals, he was pitching like a 1 or a 2, but for the past almost a season now, he really has not done much of anything. Part of that was fatigue, so I'm not going to blame him for that. But this season, he hasn't really been all that great.
Yeah, he was. He was almost projected as like the next Adam Wainwright. I mean, he was supposed to be Adam Wainwright Jr. coming in and being the guy, the leader of the pitching staff. He was supposed to do it for years and years to come, years and years after Adam Wainwright is to retire. That's why I said that's why I said I asked the question. This was a long time ago, but I don't think that Wacha is going to be the number 1 starter. I think it's going to be Carlos Martinez, to be fair with you. I don't think that Wacha is a number 1. And if he is a number 1, I hope he shows it soon. But baseball is one of those sports. It's what have you done for me lately? And right now in the pitching category, Wacha hasn't done nothing. And Jaime Garcia and Carlos Martinez, who are your 4 and 5 starters, have been pitching awesomely. And you can't really do anything about it. Leak's come on as of late as the third starter. Adam Wainwright's kind of there. Then again, he's kind of not. He's kind of hit and miss right now. But Waka, I would say, I mean, he won. He started off 2-7 and then won his next 5 starts or something.
Right. Yeah.
So he's coming on, but if he would have done that from the start, he wouldn't have had those 7 losses. He wouldn't have had an under 500 record, and he probably would have put us in a lot more ball games than what he did. And it's easy for us to speculate. He was garbage first half of the season. But I don't know what's going through Waka's head when he's out there. I don't know what his daily life is. Maybe he's taking stress, something else out on the field, and he's thinking about something else rather than focusing on baseball. And if that's the case, I'm really sorry to hear that, but you're getting paid to throw a ball 98 miles an hour and throw your nasty changeup. And right now you're throwing the ball 94 and getting hit out of the ballpark.
And getting drilled, right. I still think he has time to be that starter that at least everyone projected him to be. I think he can do it. I don't know if it will happen. My projection is that he won't. I agree with you. It'll be Carlos Martinez, be the future of the Cardinals pitching staff. But he can. Waka still has something to say about it, and I hope we have a bomb 1-2 starter like Waka Martinez. I hope in a couple years when these guys get older and mature, we can say, sort of like Kershaw Greinke. Good luck facing those two. Maybe they won't be that good, but the same concept applies. You don't want to face Waka Martinez right now. It's just that. Right now, it's just me saying I don't want to face Martinez. I hope Waka picks it up here, but this season he hasn't shown me much of anything, and I wonder if fatigue will be a factor in the second half because it was last season in the second half. That was one of the reasons he pitched so poorly. But I want to get off, stop being a downer here. Alex, my MVP for the Cardinals this season is Aledmys Diaz. I don't know who it is for you. It might be Matt Carpenter. It could be Stephen Piscotty. It could be Sang-Won-Oh for all I know. But for me, it's Aledmys Diaz, and he's been really just a stud this season.
Real quick, just before we get off the pitching thing, you said you don't know how much time you think Waka has. I think he has until Wainwright retires to show his number one capability. I think if Wainwright retires and he's not showing that capability, he's not number one. But
that's
like
fair.
you said, don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Oh, and then plus you have to look at Lance Lynn is only out for one season.
Although, to be fair with Lance Lynn, his contract runs out after next season, and it's widely expected he'll be a free agent. So you have to wonder. I don't think he's part of the long-term future. Next season, obviously, is going to be a factor, and he's probably going to be pretty good next season. But you're exactly right with Wainwright and Waka. That is a good point that I did not think of. So what do you think? Maybe 2 seasons?
I'd really like to say he's got to start showing it now. Like he has to put enough starts underneath his belt to prove that he has number one capabilities. And I think, if you only get 30 starts, compared to someone who plays 160 games a season,
yep.
I think you need to start the second half of this season and start doing something, putting it together. But like you said, coming off the Debbie Downer thing, and real quick, Waka has pitched really good as of late. Has pitched awesome as of late.
He has pitched well as of late, yeah.
Has done really good. So hopefully that's the turn of the tide. I like looking of the up and up stuff. I don't like putting people down. So hopefully that's coming back up. Like you said, though, touching on the Cardinals MVP of the season, I would totally agree with you. I think it's Aledmys Diaz.
But Matt Carpenter's been so good though. But
yes, and so is Stephen Piscotty. There's a lot of good. Not a lot, but there's good players on the Cardinals. But when I look at an MVP, I think of a person who changes the ball club.
Mm-hmm.
I think of a person who can take a ball club who was not doing so well, trying to play with the roster they had already up, to playing really well and changing the ball club around. And I don't think that the Cardinals are where they at right now if Aledmys Diaz isn't playing.
Oh, No, I completely agree. And to expand on that, when I think of an MVP, I sort of think of somebody who really wasn't expected to perform at the level he is performing, at least on the micro level. Like, for example, Mike Trout, yeah, he's an MVP just because he's just so darn good. But Aledmys Diaz, he wasn't expected to really do much of anything this season. He wasn't even. I don't think he was even expected to make the roster.
No.
And sure enough, what do you know? He's an all-star. But if he does not make the roster and he does not perform the way he's performing now, the Cardinals may not even be in the wild card race. To be brutally honest with you.
Yeah, and then also real quick, another player that's played really well is Greg Garcia, and he doesn't even start every day. I mean, he's playing really, really well. But like you said, I think their plan, the Cardinals' plan for overall was they were going to let Aledmys Diaz get a lot of at-bats in the minor leagues until Peralta's contract ran out. So after next season, he was going to come up, start at shortstop for us every single day, and at that point in time, I'm assuming they thought it was going to be him and Wong as the duo up the middle. I don't see Carpenter as a long-time fit at second base because after Peralta leaves, we're going to need a third baseman.
Yep.
So I think Matt Carpenter will man that role. I think Colton Wong will move back to second. He's a really quick fielder. Just needs to work on some of the little things in the mental game. But like you said, I don't think the Cardinals are where they're at if Aledmys Diaz isn't on the big club. If he's not at shortstop, another aspect of an MVP is someone who wants to be in that spotlight, who wants to be hitting when the game's on the line, who wants the ball hit to him when they need an out. And that's Aledmys Diaz. I don't know another way to put it. I mean, I couldn't tell you another person who would want to do that. I mean,
I don't know either.
Yadier maybe.
Wainwright probably.
I don't even know if Piscotty would want it. And I really can't say Wainwright because you can't compare those two. Wainwright's more the person who wants the ball in that decisive Game 7. You need the game to win. Or the Game 4, when you're getting ready to lose, you have to have the Game 1 to move on, to keep going. He's going to want the ball. And that's what we're looking for in an MVP. And I think that fit is Aledmys Diaz when it comes to position players. I think standpoint, the pitching staff has been Carlos Martinez. He never backs down from a fight. He's always ready to go. Excuse me. He's ready to take the ball, and that's the mentality all of our pitchers and all of our players need to have. It's not oh man, I wonder if it's going to hit to me. It's got to be I want it hit to me. I want to make this play to save the game.
And I
want to give us some momentum.
I think that has been the reason why Diaz's defense has been getting better. Because when we started the season, Diaz's defense was despicable. It was really, really bad. And every time a ball was hit to him, you're sort of, breathing a little heavy. Is he going to field it, or is he just going to, airmail it to first, or is he going to boot it? What is he going to do? While there is still some kinks to be worked out, he has gotten so much better in half a season. It's been night and day.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's now to the point with you're one of the best players on the ball club when when the game's on the line and you have fans that are saying, "Hey, hit it to Diaz," hit it to this person, or you're asking a runner to run on Yachty. Like when you're asking one of the players to do something to basically do something that could harm your team, if you're asking one of the opposing players to do that, you have full confidence in your team. And right now, the only player I can say that about is Aledmys Diaz. When the game is on the line, I don't want the ball hit anywhere else other than Aledmys Diaz. Ground ball, line drive, whatever it is, hit it to him because he's either going to turn a double play if there's a runner on, or he's going to throw you out if there's no runners on, or he's going to catch it. He's become much, much better. The other person that you might think about is Stephen Piscotty. I mean,
I want to play devil's advocate with you 1 second before we move on here. While I agree with you about people like I want the ball hit to Diaz now, and that's a good problem to have, and that's a good thing. But what does that say about the rest of the defense? To me, it says two things. One, Diaz is extremely good, and we all know that. And two, the defense isn't that great.
No, I don't know what I was listening to. I don't know if it was another baseball game and they were talking about the Cardinals, or if it was a Cardinal game, or if it was ESPN or what it was. But one of the guys talking about the game said that the Cardinal way of baseball is getting lost right now. Cardinals used to be pitching and defense and then hitting, and now it's hitting and then defense and then pitching, and it's kind of backwards, and that's not how it should go. Yes, defense wins championships. Yes, you need runs to win, but as long as you can score runs and play solid defense, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah, you're darn right, and that's what the Cubs are doing right now.
That's what the Cardinals did last year. That's why they won so many games. Their defense was really good. The pitching was really good. The power offense was god-awful.
Yep.
I don't understand why people were like, oh, they needed more offense. I understand that, but they didn't need more home runs. They needed more people on base. They needed more base hits. They needed more runs to be driven in via base hits, not via the long ball.
And that's one of the things that has really fascinated me about this season was coming into this year, we were really worried about the offense. We're like, oh God, this is going to be an ugly offensive season. And we sort of expected the pitching to, maybe not replicate what they did last year, because those were historic numbers. And like you said, that they're once in a lifetime numbers, but we expected them to at least pitch well. We'll say that. And it's been the complete, and the reality has been complete opposite. They've been tearing the cover off the baseball, and they can't pitch worth a lick.
I completely agree. Me and you both go to SIUE, and I'm kind of not ready for school to start back up here in the next 2 months or not. But I would listen to ESPN on the way to school in the morning. Obviously with regular radio, everybody's talk shows, and and a lot of them are good. But I listen to ESPN a lot, and Bernie Miklasz would be on. And when I'd leave school, who was it? Somebody else was on. I don't remember his name right now. Was a good guy. He's on about noon usually. Kevin Wheeler, I think. Yeah, Kevin Wheeler's on. Both really good guys at what they do. I like both of them as what they do, and they have these people that send them voicemails, and they're all like, well, the offense is going to be really bad, the defense is going to be really bad. Well,
those are the type that want to fire Matheny and fire Mabry with, one series against the Padres with the Cardinals can't hit, so just fire everybody.
Yeah, but I kind of, given the fact that I'm passionate about this sport, and this is what I kind of want to do for a living, I sit there and I talk to myself. I argue with the fan knowing that they can't hear me. It's kind of like, going into the season, I was like, the offense I don't think is going to be too bad. I think the power numbers are going to be bad, but other than that, I think offense, as long as it stays the same as it was and the defense stays the same, everything will be okay and we'll be just fine. I honestly called a lot of people stupid because it sounded like they were highly intelligent, didn't know what they were talking about. It was dumb, and the two people that agreed with me were running the talk show. Kevin Wheeler and Bernie Miklasz were completely agreeing with what I was saying. I'd say it again because I've said it before. I don't know if anybody watched it or not. No, John Mabry is not the best hitting coach on the planet. Mark McGwire was much, much better.
Yep.
Yes, Mike Matheny is not the best manager in the world. Tony La Russa was much, much better. But people move on to different ball clubs. It's baseball. They move on. The whole coaches and players stay with the same team for their entire career doesn't happen anymore. No. It's far and few between. Anthony Rizzo, who is the shining star of the Cubs, wasn't even drafted by the Cubs. Mm-mm. He was drafted by the Padres and was traded to the Cubs. So he hasn't even stayed on the same team. John Mabry yes, is pretty bad at being a hitting coach. Probably has the job because him and Matheny are best friends.
Buddies. You know, my quick one-statement theory on hitting coaches is that you need to be a good hitter in the pros to be a good hitting coach.
Exactly.
While Mabry wasn't terrible, he wasn't all that great. Let's be brutally honest here, folks.
And real quick, if you compare Mark McGwire to John Mabry, even though Mark McGwire has come out and said that he did take PEDs and won't go into the Hall of Fame, John Mabry's not making it to the Hall of Fame either, folks.
Nope.
And he was clean. Steroids doesn't make you hit the ball right at the right time every time. It makes you hit it further.
Mm-hmm.
Mark McGwire had the timing down right. Mark McGwire probably could have hit, not maybe for the power numbers that he did, but he would have still been able to hit without taking the steroids.
Yep.
John Mabry couldn't hit if you gave him a tennis racket.
Let me look up his numbers here. I'm not going to compare him to McGwire's because that's just silly. I think it's like comparing apples to oranges.
Exactly. If you watch any Cardinal baseball before, if you've watched anything, you should know that Mark McGwire's 10 million times the hitter that John Mabry ever was.
Mabry had a 13-year career. He hit 96 career home runs.
Which is a season for Mark McGwire.
Exactly. And he had a 263 career batting average with a 322 career OBP. I'm just going to go back to my point that I just said. To be a good hitting coach, and this goes for any sport, to be a good coach, it would greatly help you to be a good player. While that's not true for everybody, obviously, when it comes to hitting coaches and it comes to dissecting the art of hitting a baseball, I think you need to be good at doing that while you were a player.
Exactly. Leave that tab up real quick of John Mabry stats and look up Mark McGwire's, but don't look up the home run and RBIs. I want to see just average and on-base percentage. That's the only two I care about.
Just a second. While I'm doing that, I just want to pose one thing. It's kind of surprising to me that Brandon Moss would be leading the Cardinals in home runs the first half of the season.
Yeah, like I've stated before, the Cardinals traded for Brandon Moss to be the player he is this year, but last year, and he wasn't that player. He's now in a uniform that he's used to now. He's comfortable. He's hitting. He's having a Brandon. That's the thing is, we have so many players that you don't know what their kind of season is that you can't get.
Yeah.
I don't know what a normal Steve Piscotty season is. I don't know what a normal Matt Carpenter season is because he's been up and down here as of late. I don't know a normal Edmus Diaz season. I don't know. Johnny Peralta usually is about 20 home runs, a little over. Matt Holliday, 20 home runs, a little over. Molina usually hits around 300. I don't know a Matt Adams season. I don't know a Cole Long season. But I'll tell you this. Brandon Moss is having a Brandon Moss season. Batting .250, but hitting a lot of home runs, driving in a lot of runs. That's what he does. That's just who he is. I couldn't tell you what I think Edmus Diaz is going to do. I think Edmus is going to probably hit 25 dingers. I think that's the type of player he's going to be. Mm-hmm. Matt Carpenter's probably going to hit around 20. If we can have a lot of our players hitting around 20 home runs, I think I'm not asking for 30, 40, 50, 20 home runs, but driving and runs and still batting around 300, that means you've hit 20 home runs. So out of how many ever hits you have, only 20 of them are home runs. The rest of them are base hits, doubles, triples. That means singles, that someone else – yeah, exactly. That means that you're leaving the run out there for somebody else to make. So they may be at 19 home runs and you just hit a double. If they hit a home run, that's their 20th home run. Yeah. You scored a run on a base hit. That's 2 runs instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals had him in.
Go ahead.
No, the Cardinals had an idea of you pass the bat on to the next guy. The next guy's up.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost sight of that, and that's in every. Being a person who plays slow pitch softball, having 15 runs in a game is not uncommon. But when I go out and I play slow pitch softball, I don't hit home runs. Granted, the image that I have would say that I do, but I do not. I pass the at-bat on to the next guy. It's not my place. Someone else is better than me who could do it. I try to get on base and score runs that way. They have to have the mentality. I think the Cardinals have to go back to that. The ball needs to go to they need to have the ball hit to them defensively, and they need to get on base no matter what it may take to do it. Drawing walks, dropping bunts, base hits, doubles, triples.
Smart base running. Yeah.
Exactly. Easy on the home runs. That's another thing. Matt Carpenter's had a lot of idiot base running things this year because he's trying to do too much instead of waiting for the next guy and believing in him to drive him in.
Which is sort of disappointing because the offense has been so good. But I do have Mark McGwire's numbers up here, and it's kind of funny, actually. John Mabry's career batting average was 263. Guess what Mark McGwire's career batting average was?
263?
263. However, the big difference comes in the OBP. Mabry's was 322. McGwire's was 70 points higher, and it was 394. So McGwire could get on base a hell of a lot better.
Granted, that might have come with the power numbers from the steroids with the intentional walks and stuff. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is Mark McGwire hit a lot of home runs. But Mark McGwire had to put the bat on the ball to do it. I'm going to go ahead and guess, just from the body differences, that John Mabry probably dropped a couple more bunts than Mark McGwire did to get on base. John Mabry was that kind of guy. Contact hitter, not a lot of home runs, as you can tell. I think to be a hitting coach, you can't just say drop a bunt. You have to be able to dissect someone's swing to help them out. What's wrong with them? Is it a timing thing? Is their leg kick too high? Are they loading too early? Too late?
Yep.
Are their hands moving faster than their body? Is their body moving faster than their hands? John Mabry's not going to be able to tell you that. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I've heard John Mabry do that's any different than what Mark McGwire was telling people was, hey, if you're in a slump, drop a bunt. That's what he told. I think it was Colton Long or Matt Carpenter or something. But Mark McGwire could tell you, hey, you're cutting down on the ball. You're hitting underneath of it. You're hitting on top of it. Square back up. Use your power angles in your arms. John Mabry doesn't know jack shit of anything that Mark McGwire was talking about. He was just kind of there to use the same lines over and over again and has no clue.
And I just want to remind everybody that we don't think Mabry should be fired. I mean, if trends continue over a long stretch of time, then yes, go ahead and fire a person. But we're not calling for Mabry or Matheny's head. We're just stating that with McGwire as a hitting coach, the offense was so much better.
It was much, 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 much better. And actually, what I'm trying to tell you is if the Cardinals can find a hitting coach that's better, take it.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
You can keep John Mabry on the staff as like an assistant hitting coach. Real quick, since I said that, what is an assistant hitting coach? What do they do?
That is a good question. Can you name the Cardinals' assistant hitting coach? Because I certainly can't.
No, I don't understand. Is it like what am I trying to say? The secretary of the hitting coach? Like if the hitting coach gets some mail, does the assistant hitting coach give it to him? Like,
let me look this one up here. Hold on a second. Go ahead and keep talking.
I don't mind John Mabry staying on the staff. I'm sure he has good points. Dropping a bunt is a great idea. If you're in a slump and you're kind of fast, you can drop.
I got it.
Okay, what is it?
Do you know a man named Derek May?
No.
It's funny because I'm on the Cardinals website here, and it has their manager and coaches, and it says Mike Matheny, manager; John Mabry, hitting coach; Derek Loquist, pitching coach, and it has their picture next to all of them. Derek May doesn't even have a picture next to his. So obviously no one knows who in the world he is. I don't know if he's making a difference. I don't know if he's helping the team out. But to me, with John Mabry, it seems like I don't know, just things aren't quite connecting, right? If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Honestly, and if you look back at the old things, I think when LaRusso was a hitting coach, Duncan was a pitching coach, and McGwire was a hitting coach. I mean, you had three good people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah, you did.
And then you've gone on to, like, Matheny taking over for Tony LaRusso. And Matheny I don't think in my mind, has been too bad. He inherited a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Tony La Russa had that same good team. He didn't inherit it. He doesn't draft players. That's John Mozeliak. So, okay, but I'm not comparing.
I want to make this difference between a manager and a general manager, because some people don't quite realize this. The general manager gives the manager players, and then the manager has to set the lineup according to those players. They are in cahoots about everything. If you don't like the lineup, don't blame Mozeliak. Or actually, no, yeah, go ahead and blame Mozeliak if you want, because he's the one providing the players. But Matheny sets the lineup every day. It's not Mozeliak. And Matheny doesn't draft players. That's Mozeliak's job. So just some people don't quite know the difference between the general manager and the manager. Just a quick note.
Yeah, I mean, I completely that. I mean, people have to know that in order to know what's going on.
Right.
But I'm not taking anything away from La Russa was a really good manager. He knew what the hell he was doing. Yeah, he confused people, like pulling Jaime in the third inning in the World Series to start a bullpen game. Mm-hmm. But no one, they're like, oh, that was a stupid move. But did the Cardinals win the World Series?
They won the World Series, pal, yeah.
Yeah, they won the World Series. Was the bullpen really good that postseason?
You're damn right.
Yeah, it was really good that postseason. Was Jaime pitching a pretty good game up until that point? Yeah, doing just fine. But was the bullpen going to do any better than Jaime was going to do it?
Yep.
Yeah, much better, because they won the World Series. Like, you guys, like, fans nitpick at that stupid little shit, but don't realize the big picture that happened. Yeah, he pulled Jaime in the third inning to start a bullpen game. But did Game 7 come, a winner happen for the Cardinals? Did they win a World Series in 2011?
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Did certain actions have to happen in order for that to be true? Yes. David Freese had a monumental Game 6, and that had to happen in order for us to move on. But it happened. That Game 6, those two hits, those two hits weren't affected by pulling Jaime in the third inning in like Game 5 or whatever it was.
Game 6.
Game 6. They were both Game 6?
I believe Jaime was Game 6, because I was actually at Game 6. And okay. I believe it was Jaime, Game 6, yeah. And then,
But pulling Jaime in the third inning had nothing to do with the ninth inning double or triple, and then whatever inning it was, the home run. That pitching move had nothing to do with this offensive move. Not, David Freese and go, oh, he's pulling Jaime in the third. I guess that's a code. I got to hit a triple and then hit a dinger to win it. No. Tony La Russa knew what he was doing. I think that there's days that Mike Matheny wakes up out of bed and doesn't realize he has to put on pants. John Mabry's the same way. He gets up, and besides having pancakes for breakfast, he has tacos. Like, he doesn't understand the mental process of going into it. But the three people that were before them knew their shit, knew what they were doing. And they got paid very lucrative for it. They got championships for it. They got a good team because of it.
Yep, they did. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Matheny is that, and you touched on it, but that he inherited a really good team.
Yeah, and
even without Pujols.
Sorry about that, and also has been to the playoffs every year that he's been managing.
Yeah.
That
and that takes some skill, big time skill.
Yeah, I honestly, out of the two, Matheny and Mabry, Matheny is leaps and bounds better. Matheny probably couldn't be a hitting coach, but John Mabry probably shouldn't be a hitting coach either.
No.
John Mabry couldn't be a head coach, but I think Matheny is worthy of being one. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of the first half was people were trying to set the blame on somebody, and they just resorted to Matheny and Mabry instead of, hey, the players aren't playing real well.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really makes me angry sometimes is that you need to blame the players sometime. If Carpenter or I don't know who's Matt Halliday seems like a good candidate, grounds into a double play or strikes out 4 times and gets the golden sombrero, that's not the hitting coach's fault. Maybe on a micro level, that's not the hitting coach's fault. Over the long stretch, it probably is. But if Halliday goes, two for 20 in a week, some blame needs to be proportioned to the players. I don't like doing it, but that's the way it is because they're the ones playing the game.
Exactly. John Mabry's not in a. If Holiday's up, just moving on with your analogy, if Holiday's up to bat, John Mabry's not in the left-handed batter's box telling him what he's doing wrong.
No. Mm-hmm.
Matt Holliday has to go out there and do his job and hit. John Mabry's job isn't to make him hit; it's to help him hit better.
Right.
I think that's what has to happen in the next half. I think that's what needs to be going on. If it doesn't happen, then people need to start putting some of this blame on the players. Grichuk was awful first half of the season, was terrible. Looking at third strikes, striking out, swinging. Played okay defense, but couldn't hit. I think in order for that to happen, the Cardinals had to play better offense. They have to play better defense. And with talking about the second half, I don't know about you, Paul, but I'm kind of tired of being the Debbie Downer again. It's time to move on to the second half prediction and seeing where we think the Cardinals are going to be in the second half of the season. Hopefully it's number one in the division. If not, hopefully it's in the wild card game. And moving on, that is my hopefully prediction. I'm hoping they go over 500. Pitching staff starts doing better. Aledmys Diaz isn't the only Gold Glove potential winner on the team. Grichuk needs to hit better. Piscotty needs to do exactly what he's doing in the second half. Aledmys Diaz needs to do exactly what he's doing in the second half. Johnny Peralta, Matt Carpenter, Matt Adams, Yadier Molina, Matt Holliday, Tommy Pham all need to pick it up in the next half in order for us to win.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, Stephen Piscotty we haven't talked about him that much because he's been playing so consistently and so well. He doesn't warrant any discussion because the rest of the guys aren't playing that well, and they aren't playing up to par. I agree with you. If Diaz keeps doing what he's doing, Piscotty keeps doing what he's doing, and Carpenter does him and gets healthy here, and if everybody else picks it up, there's really not going to be much to worry about. Are they going to catch the Cubs? Probably not, because the Cubs are just really, really good, and it seems like it's their time. Hopefully I'm wrong, but it seems like it's their time. Sorry, my phone went off here. Apologize. But to me, like we've been saying for the past 3 months, it's the pitching. If they can just keep the team in the ball games and hand the ball off to the bullpen, who can hopefully get their crap together, we shouldn't have anything to worry about.
I mean, like you said, bullpen needs to get better, and certain players on defense and then the offensive standpoint have to get better too. I don't. Trevor Rosenthal is confusing me right now. I don't know what to do with him. I think honestly he's still kind of throwing a little pissy fit because he's not starting, because that's what he's wanted to do since he came up, instead of accepting his role and being a potential Hall of Fame closer. He could have been. I don't know if that's a fair enough possibility now.
I probably not, but no one's really ever going to be Mariano Rivera or Trevor Hoffman, but I will say this: Trevor Rosenthal has the chance to be one of the Cardinal greats when it comes to bullpen and pitching.
Exactly, and he could tell you all day, "Oh, I didn't play this game to get into the Hall of Fame," or
right.
That's exactly why you played this game.
Yeah.
You want to be in the books of baseball. You want kids to know your name after your life is gone. You want kids to know who Trevor Rosenthal was. You want kids to know who Aledmys Diaz was. That's why kids today, they know Stan Musial. They know who he is. Mm-hmm. They're gonna know all the Cardinal greats. They're going to know them because they're good. Like, that's just, man, I don't understand why this generation of players has gone from, hey, I wanna do the small things right. I want kids to look up to me, and hey, let's pump steroids. Hey, let's try and throw 99 right down the middle and, assert my dominance to them. No, if you throw a heater down the middle, it's going onto the fence and you're losing the ball game because you had to be an idiot. Like, I know that Trevor Rosenthal throws really hard, but I also know that Trevor Rosenthal has off-speed pitches. Throw the damn thing.
Yeah.
If he's fouling balls off, if he's fouling your fastball off, that means he's getting closer and closer and closer to hitting it between the white lines.
Yeah.
Throw a changeup. I don't know all Trevor Rosenthal's pitches because I don't pay attention that much. I think he has a changeup. Kevin Seagrass threw a really hard a couple seasons ago, and he's curveball now. He's figured out how to throw a curveball, and that's what's made him really good this season. Seth Maness throws nothing that stays straight. It all moves. They need to do that.
Yeah. Sang-Won Oh. I absolutely love the guy. He might end up being the piece that holds this bullpen together, honestly. Now the Cardinals might go out and get somebody during the trade deadline, and we'll talk about that, the trade deadline, as it gets closer. But they might go out and get somebody, as they probably should. But Sang-Won Oh might be the guy that holds everything together. It'd be fun to see it because he's really good and he's fun to watch. So, we'll see. To me, it all comes down to starting pitching. The offense is doing okay. It also comes down to defense. My bad. But yeah, the offense is doing fine. If the pitching can, like I said, get their ERAs below 4 for once in their life. Speaking about you, Jaime Garcia and Waka, I'm not all that worried about the Cardinals getting a wild card berth because the rest of the National League, with the exception of the Mets and apparently the Marlins now and the Dodgers, it's really not that great.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Basically, my outlook on the second half is everybody has to get better.
Yeah,
even the people that are good have to get better.
That's putting it pretty generally, but yeah, I agree.
Okay. Other than that outlook on anything else, we've read off their schedule, and the last podcast is going to be coming out. So if you're curious about that, if you don't want to go look and you'd rather listen to us, two knuckleheads do it, you can go check that out. But other than that, Paul, I have nothing else to talk about with the half the season preview and then the other half of the season preview for what's going on in the Cardinal world.
Yeah, that's all I have as well. We'll be releasing our other podcasts this week as the week progresses and give you something to listen to because there's no baseball going on. So it's going to be a pretty dull week if you're a baseball fan, with the exception of Monday and Tuesday. Other than that, it's going to be pretty boring, and we're here to try and make it at least a little bit better.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for a couple more videos we got coming out this upcoming week. The All-Star Game is also this week. I know I've said it a couple times. Given the fact that it is the 10th, on the 11th is the Home Run Derby, and the 12th is the actual All-Star Game. So tune into those. I believe both of them are held on ESPN. I don't actually know the times of when they are starting.
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah, you're right, though.
And if you haven't checked out the bracket for the Home Run Derby, make sure you check it out. It's really, really good. Just a quick hint, Cargo is in it. Corey Seager is in it. That's kind of just a hint. Go find out who else is in it. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing else to say. For Paul Elpy, my name is Alex Schneider. Thank you for tuning in to Everything Stretch. And have a good week with no Cardinal baseball and watch those All-Star games. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in a couple days.